back, bro. It's one of his
It was especially when they were starting out in the 90s. Welcome to another episode of Football Theory with your host, Ivan Sanchez and Alejandro Guti. Guti, how are you? You were on vacation. How was it?
Whew. Well, I have a week off still, so it feels great. But yeah, I hit Seattle up. It was really fun. Good to get away for a little bit, and now another little week to kind of decompress at home before I go back to work. So yeah, it was
So
good.
for the people, do you recommend Seattle as a vacation trip?
I don't know. People always asking that. What do I do? I'm like, if you like the touristic things, I mean, like the gum wall, these little things you want to see. I mean, any city has their things, so I would definitely, I would recommend it. It is a lot of walking, a lot of uphill, depending where your hotel is. But we made it happen with the 4-year-old. So if we could do it, anyone can do it.
There you go, people. There you go. The recommendation. Me growing up in Oregon and spending a good amount of time of my life in Portland, I cannot recommend Seattle. That is that's a rival city, and so yeah, I have to disagree with everything he says, but
And I've never been to Portland, so that'll be the next one I go to.
All right, there you go, people. So yeah, so while Guti's been there, we had a lot going on. We got, I think kind of we're gonna hit a lot of the same topics we've been hitting on because that's the way the soccer season is going right now. That's what's given us. We're gonna start off. We got our final setup in England or in Europe. We got our final setup in South America and Brazil. But first things first, we are a Mexican podcast first, and we got the Gold Cup starting up on Saturday. We just had 2 friendlies, one with the Olympic team and one with the senior team. Quickly before we hit, any takeaways from the friendlies?
Well, I mean, we did call it. They were going to beat Panama. I didn't think they were going to score 4 goals, but they did. Was it 4 against Panama? Was it 3? I forgot how many it was against Panama. It was a lot. I think it was 3 or 4. But yeah, and then against obviously against Nigeria, I thought Nigeria was going to bring more. And then as the game developed, they were saying there was no one there that like has any experience in the national team really. A lot of the guys probably aren't even going to play on the next qualifier. So that was pretty bad. But yeah, Mexico just took over right away, man. They look good. I mean, they look normal. I mean, winning these friendlies. And I still believe that USA game is still kind of a fluke, just like not capitalizing on what they did. But nothing has changed, Same players, obviously one new one, but that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Olympic squad was the one that played against Panama, and they look good. I think you saw some things that you should be happy about. And for the senior team, for Nigeria, again, I think it's a building process. We're about to get into the Gold Cup and what we kind of expect to see them from the Gold Cup. But, quickly for me, just start off, it's almost like if they win and they blow a team out, then people will say, oh, that's what you expect. And, they gain nothing from it. And then if they barely win or it's not the result you want, then the pressure or the criticizing begins because they didn't play up to the potential or what we expect from them. So, it's almost, we definitely have to take a step back when it comes to these friendlies before the Gold Cup starts.
Yeah, no, I don't. If we, like you said, if we beat somebody or if Mexico beats somebody, it's because they didn't bring their team. If Mexico loses, they want to burn the ship down, start all over, and like so. That's why I'm trying to kind of reinstate that. Like, yes, Mexico lost to USA. Yes, the alarms are on, but that cup would have happened last year. You know what I mean? So that close to the Gold Cup, we'd be talking about something else, and I'll bring that point up as we go into the Gold Cup right now. But yeah.
We got the Gold Cup kicking up on Saturday. We got Mexico playing against Trinidad and Tobago, who won their little qualifier over the last week. Along with their group, you have El Salvador, a Central American rival, and you have Curacao. And so, what do you expect from the group stages for you with this Mexico team?
No, I expect 9 points. So 3 wins. I mean, yeah, there could be some games that get tight, but I don't believe this team will, kind of get rattled too much, not from this group. So I think Mexico is gonna, you don't want to say it, but caminando, they're gonna qualify walking like La Volpe said one day. So yeah, I do think. I mean, we're talking about 9 points. Curacao, they're gonna play against El Salvador. They're gonna play Trinidad and Tobago. Probably physically is gonna give them the most challenge, but like I said, I think just quality, experience, and the guys they have. I think Mexico's gonna get 9 points and probably score, at least 7-8 goals, I think.
Yeah, so the roster isn't a complete A roster. You got some guys on the Olympic team, but this is a very strong roster. This is a very good team. I think now, because the World Cup being about a year and a half away, really this is going to be the base moving forward for the World Cup. I think there's going to be about at least 70% of the players that you might see on the roster. Um, Especially, it's so hard now with a year and a half to implement players. And I think that that's really using this opportunity to keep the core group that he's going to use moving forward for the World Cup with in this group and just make sure they have more games, because they did go a year without playing any really competitive games. And so he's really using this as an opportunity to have the core guys play a lot more. And so for me, I'm not really going to look if they play well or if they don't play well. For me, it's not that important. I think what I've really have learned in the last couple of years is don't overreact to group stages. Let teams kind of go and grow into the tournament and grow into the games, because you'll see it all the time in the international stage. Teams could have good group stages and then a matchup in the knockout stage and they're out, and everything they've done in the group stage kind of means for nothing. So
Yeah.
even though Mexico is much more superior to these teams, if they come out with like a 2-0 win or 1-0 wins or even maybe like a draw somewhere, I'm not going to burn the bridge down, because that's not what the end result is. The end result is to win the title, and just getting first in the group sets themselves up in the knockout stage, I think.
No, agree. I don't think we have to overreact. I mean, they've done Copa Oros where they beat Cuba 1-0 or they beat Guadalupe 1-0. I mean, it doesn't, they don't need to win by 4 goals every game. I'm telling you today, I do expect that many goals. I just think it's a different group, different every Copa Oro. There's been a different kind of excuse to it, right? Like sometimes they both go with stellar teams, and I'm talking about Mexico, USA, or sometimes you hear like, oh, Mexico's taking a B team, and that was because they were taking the first team to Copa America, whatever it may be. Or there was all kinds of things coming up. There was a Grubeterol, right? So like 5 guys that had to come out. I mean, there's been all kinds of like excuses, like I would say, going into these Gold Cups. Right now, I think it's kind of a cool experience just because right after is a World Cup qualifier, which is we're not used to that, right? The World Cup qualifier usually on a different year, right? Or towards a different end of the year. So it's a little bit different, the timing. But I don't know, man. I don't think that's going to change too many things around. Like you say, he's going to take the guys that we know. He's going to try some guys out. There probably are better players. We know there are. There's a handful of guys going to Tokyo that should be on this team instead. If you're talking about making an A team, like Unlines, right? Guys that are going to make a difference. Ochoa is obviously going to Tokyo, but this team looks solid, man. I don't see, in the past years. I mean, I went all the way to LA to go watch. Shout out to my homies that went with me. We went all the way to Pasadena to watch, that real Copa Oro B team. Oh, now I got feedback. Hold on. You got me? I don't hear it. I'm good now. We went all the way to Pasadena, to watch Mexico. It was that year they just couldn't beat Panama. They couldn't beat Panama worth their lives. They just kept losing to them or tying to them. And, that was towards the end of Chepo's run. And so I've seen all kinds of Gold Cups, man, where they just take a whole Liga MX team or whatever it may be, a good little mix. Or even that one time when they took a really young team and they beat USA 5-0 in the final. That was a really young Mexican team too, with Vela, Gio playing at their full, probably their, Gio's prime, not Vela's prime. But yeah, I'm excited though. I think Mexico's going to do good. It's going to be fun to be able to watch 2 tournaments at once. I think they're very balanced teams. I don't think one of them is better than the other Olympic team or Copa Oro. I think they're very balanced. So it should be cool.
Yeah, I think, and we'll get more into the Olympic team as the Olympics come up. That has another 2 weeks for it. So right now is a good time for the Gold Cup. And you make a good point. The Gold Cup, because it's played every 2 years, always put themselves in a very interesting, really puts the team in interesting positions, because sometimes it's on the back of a Confederations Cup if Mexico's in it. Sometimes it's off the back of another team participating in the Confederations Cup. So that team might be a little different than what Mexico's bringing. And so it's always something, this one, USA has decided not to bring their European players and their strongest team, which is fine for them. I guess they saw that the 2 weeks for the Nations League was important for them, and they said for their program that works, that the 2 weeks that they spent together and played that tournament, that friendly, is everything they needed. So so right now that's the asterisk, right? Or that's the wonky thing of this tournament, is that the U.S. isn't bringing their best players, even while Mexico is, and I think a lot of the other teams are bringing as strong as the teams they can. So looking at other groups, you have USA against Canada, which is in Group B, which is kind of the big 2 teams in that one. is there a possibility of a Canada, or in your Group C, you have Costa Rica and Jamaica, a Jamaican team who, I'm kind of big on in the future moving forward, that they can make something. Are these teams in a position to upset the kind of other teams in the region that were known for, the U.S. and the Costa Rican?
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is the one. This is the one tournament you're gonna see some different semifinalists for sure. There's gonna be different names.
Jamaica's made a finals. They beat Mexico in the past.
They beat Mexico, yeah, but that could be the asterisk right there too. That Mexico didn't, they didn't have the team, whatever it may be. I think Mexico has no excuse this time. But I think with the other team, like you just said, I think they can beat a Costa Rica. I don't see them being that dominant team anymore. I just don't see it anymore. We'll see if they have a good tournament. Canada has to make that strike right now, man. I don't know. What if Canada beats US? You know what I mean? What if they do? I mean, USA is going with whatever they want to call it, a B or C team, which I think honestly only comes off the back of slipping through and winning that Nations League Cup. Because if they don't win that cup, they don't win that tournament game, that one game, I don't see US saying, you know what, let's take the Gold Cup off. I don't see it. I don't know. Maybe they still thought, oh, we're still going to take it off. I think there's a little bit of disrespect, a little bit to the Confederation. Like we're talking about CONCACAF. Like this is the only place you can play, right? You're supposed to play here. The FIFA has, the teams have to allow you to let the use a player. If you call a player to come play Copa Oro, your team should let them play. I mean, there should be no excuse to that. I mean, there's preseason. It's like, so what? All the other teams are playing Euros. They have preseason too. So, no, I don't know. I'm kind of like bummed out about USA doing that. It's not the first time they do it. I don't know if it's kind of like let's just see. Like you say, they probably already happy with the team they got, and that's the team they're going to go with in the fall. They really don't care about who goes to the Copa Oro. They're probably going to maybe get 4 or 5 guys from this group. But no, I just think this is a year that, like, even like in Group D, if you look at it, Grenada, Honduras, Panama, Qatar, like it's kind of up in the air. Honduras should win that group, but it's like you don't even know what these island teams could bring, man. You really don't know.
Yeah, and you look at the team like Qatar, who doesn't play any competitive matches because they're not doing World Cup qualifying because they're already in the World Cup. This is one of their only opportunities they have to get some really competitive games in, and competitive in the fact that they're not just friendlies. These are games that for them is going to matter a lot because they're kind of building for this in a year and a half from now. And, for them, this is going to be the tournament for them to really play really well, see what they got, kind of measure themselves against teams that in a group stage or in a World Cup stage, they could face a team like Costa Rica in the group stage and something and those are where you kind of measure yourself up to see where you can get points of moving forward when you're looking at them in the program for a World Cup. So for them, it's a great opportunity. You make the comment about for the USA, for them moving forward, their focus seems to kind of really be on the World Cup qualifying and making sure that they start off on the right foot, something that didn't happen during the last cycle. Whereas these other teams, I think they're really trying to put the pieces together to get ready for the World Cup qualifying and really start measuring themselves and seeing where they are before the cycle starts. Before we move forward, if Canada was to beat USA finishes second, that's potentially sets up a matchup with Mexico in the semifinals, which would be interesting. But, something that Mexico is playing for that the rest aren't, they're 11th in the world. They're right there to try to snag and battle for for the top 7 spots in the world to be ahead of the group in the World Cup, something the rest of the teams mathematically cannot. And this is big for Mexico in that regard, because if they win the tournament, they put themselves in a good position entering qualifying to really have a realistic chance at possibly being one of those top 7 teams in the world.
Mm-hmm. No, I forgot about that point, and that's what we got. That's what they got to go for. I mean,
yeah,
that's what they have to go for. If you're in a tournament, we have to go win. I mean, if it's like the U20, FIFA beach tournament and Mexico's in it, they got to go all out. I mean, there's really no reason to just take tournaments off. I don't care what it is. That's why the Olympic team, that's why they always qualify. They've always qualified. I mean, obviously, I can't say always because 2008 they didn't, but since then they have continued to qualify because they take it serious. When it comes down to pre-Olympic qualifiers, right? The Mexican team sends, a lot of these big names they have from the league, and they get a coach ready for it. And especially since they won and there's some success in there, they're going to take it serious. And I feel like on the contrary, the U.S. national team has not taken the U17 World Cup serious. They have not taken the Olympic qualifier serious. So when they say all those things don't matter, it's like, well, you could say it doesn't matter because you're not, you don't qualify to them. So of course it doesn't matter, right? A Ferrari doesn't matter to me because I don't have one. You know what I mean? So of course,
Yeah, and it's and they each come with its own problem, right? Mexico's success in youth tournaments hasn't panned out to the national team level yet because there seems to be a real struggle with how do we continue the progression of these players
Right.
into the professional career. That doesn't hinder what the program has done in the youth level. That just means more there's a bigger problem to be talked about, bridging the gap between the U17, U20, U20, U23 into the professional level. And that really has to do more with the club system that's going on in Mexico and the opportunities given to them. But yeah, you're right. I think this is big for Mexico to really reestablish themselves. I think the last couple of weeks was not good for Tata Martinez or Tata Martino.
Dino. Yeah.
Here's a good chance to kind of work some things out. You're going to, and really kind of get everything right moving forward. A win is what's expected. I think he knows that. He's mentioned that it's a win is expected in here. Anything else would be considered a failure. Quickly, if they don't win, if they get upset by a team, does he make it to the qualifiers in September?
They're gonna win it, dude. I really don't see like I really don't see them not winning. But no, do they get to the qualifiers? I think so, man. I think we probably wouldn't want that to happen. We're probably, hey man, come on, he's lost 2 in a row now. We gotta let it go. But I do think like somehow the federation is kind of like, oh, we can't just be firing coaches anymore. We got to keep it. We got to think like if Juan Carlos Osorio can live past a 7-0 loss and get past that somehow, which we have no idea how he did that. Then
Oh, I know
I
why.
just well, okay, you can tell me why in a second, but and I was at that game, so it still hurts to even talk about it or even highlight that come up. I don't want to hear about it, but though that kind of stuff right there is like if you can get past that, I just don't see how you fire somebody off losing the tournament, which is like all up in the air. Obviously if you lose like 4-0 to a lower ranking team, then maybe, but if they go play against, I mean, it depends who they lose to, I guess, or how they lose, right? They go play at Costa Rica and they lose in PKs, and maybe, you know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe he keeps his job. Other than that, any other result, I think you're done. I think he's done. I think he's done.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, and that's the problem. Yeah, I think it would be hard for. I mean, it wouldn't be hard for them in the grand scheme of things of the way international should work. That is progression that he should go on, but we just don't know with the Mexican national team on how it would work. I mean, because we know them, they're so inconsistent sometimes. The federation when it comes to coaches and what will be the thing that's the final kind of pin in the balloon that pops everything, and all of a sudden Mexico's looking for a coach in the next cycle. So, that's quickly. Do you have any group winner? Do you have group
Yeah.
winners for
I mean, I'm
the
gonna go
World
with
Cup?
I'm gonna go with the basics just because I like them, but obviously in Grupo A, I'm gonna go with Mexico and Trinidad Tobago. I'm gonna go with those two. I just think they're stronger than the other ones. I mean, Curacao could, you don't know what they're gonna bring, man, because they have these guys that play all over the place. They have guys that have double citizenships and stuff. So you don't know about these other Caribbean countries. But then we go like with Grupo B. I expect Canada. I really do expect Canada to take that jump. I talked about it before. It's surprising me how low they are, but they should be taking that jump now because they're going to be hosting the World Cup. I mean, co-hosting it in the next one, so they should be trying to make that run to be somebody because they're already going to qualify to the next one. So why not try to get into this group? USA as well will obviously qualify. I think they're going to just be better than the other two teams. And then in Group C, I think we just keep it basic. Costa Rica, and I'm gonna go with Jamaica as well. Like ones that we've seen, these kind of I wouldn't want to say powerhouses, but these traditional names that we know that have been in CONCACAF qualifiers before. And then Group D, I tell you, it's kind of a toss up just because I don't know what Qatar is gonna bring. I don't know what Granada is. I don't even know what they're gonna bring, but I do expect Honduras and Panama to take care of business. So then you'd be like in your final 8 with the same names that we're talking about, right, to qualify, except Trinidad and Tobago, obviously.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you. Mexico wins the group. I'm interested to see maybe El Salvador, maybe if they have something up their sleeves to be competitive. So I think I might go with them. I think Canada could win the group. So I think they have a real possibility for them to win the group. Their first World Cup qualifier is against the U.S. in September in Nashville. So I think they really want to take this opportunity to build confidence. In the Nations League, they beat them in Canada and they've competed well. So I think they're coming much more serious. They're coming with the notion of let's really make a good run here. So I think Canada and with the team the U.S. brought, I think USA will finish second. Then you have, and I'm going to continue with the giving confidence into these young teams that I like Jamaica. I don't know how I've kind of wrapped myself into being this speaker for Jamaica, but here I am. So Jamaica to win the group, I got them with Costa Rica second, and then Honduras, and I guess because we just don't, because Qatar's kind of the wild card here, right? So
Yeah, we don't know
what they're gonna bring. So I'm gonna go with Panama, but who knows with Qatar? And it'll be interesting to see how these games go on. Things can change. We might see a team. There's always kind of an upset team or a team that kind of makes it interesting in the Gold Cup. One of these lower nations that's kind of been known. So, I know you're excited for the Gold Cup. I know I'm excited as well to see Mexico and see what transpires. People kind of like to talk down about it because it's not as prestigious as the Euros or
but it's like that's all perspective, right? Because it's like me watching Liga MX, right? Or you watching Liga. I watch the Mexican League. Do I know that like commercially or maybe talent wise or whatever on TV or the star-studded way is EPL is better? Yes, I do know that. I do. If you watch the games, they do have a different style of play. But I'm still gonna watch on Friday nights. I'm still gonna watch where I used to watch, Tecos and whoever. Like it's just to me, it's like if I'm not gonna support it, then who is? You know what I mean? If not gonna, it's like buying, it's like supporting local, right? Like that's what I'm doing. Like yes, do I know the Euros are fun to watch and I watch them? I have no connection to that. I don't care who wins or who doesn't. To be honest, I don't care really. So Copa Oro, yes, do I know the level drops like tremendously because they're playing the Caribbean islands and different teams that don't have that many professional players or at that level? Yeah, but that's our tournament. You know what I mean? That's what we got. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm gonna go for. And if, like I said, we don't support it, then who is? Who's gonna support it?
Yeah, I'm with you. And I think we kind of forget these little rivalries. Like El Salvador and Mexico used to be a heated rivalry. Like El Salvadorians do not like Mexicans. You know what I mean? And those kind of things play out. The Central American teams don't like each other within each other. So whenever you got a matchup like Honduras Panama on a group stage, that's fiery. That's fiery for them. That means something for them. USA Canada, that means something for Canada in these things. So there's like El Salvador, the last group stage game between El Salvador and Mexico. I expect El Salvador to be fiery because I think they're going to have something to play for.
They're not going to back. Yeah, they're not going to back down. They're not going to back down. Like there's certain teams that play up to Mexico, right? They go all out. They want to win. They want to beat Mexico for for its size, economics, whatever they may have, or whatever political issues they might have. But I've been to Mexico Guatemala game. I've been to these different games, and the people are great, man. It's all love. It's all love, but it's definitely a cool little rivalry. They speak the same language. They look like each other. There's something to it. It's kind of like these little neighbors. It's a neighboring little rivalry, man. It's cool.
Yeah, and I think as the World Cup qualifiers get closer, we can talk about it more. But I always enjoy the rivalry of Mexico going to a Central American country and playing there because you feel the real disdain and the real like almost anger they have and the opportunity they have.
San Pedro Sula, Honduras. It always feels like it's raining, right? It always feels like it's raining. It always feels like the field is super wet. It's just hostile environment. It's fun.
You feel this real disdain and this really unique atmosphere whether it's El Salvador, whether it's Honduras when Mexico goes there. This is their opportunity. This is their chance. Or even like a team like Panama, where this is their opportunity to kind of show the region what they've progressed both as a program, building a new stadium and having it be there, the fans and their interaction, the way the program's grown. So I think as we get closer to the World Cup qualifying, these kind of unique little visits away from Mexico and these little rivalries and these little opportunities these countries have, it means a lot to them. And whether it's the US or whether it's Mexico, you kind of see these opportunities countries have where it means something to them. And these matches mean something to them as programs, as nations who really do like this sport. So I'm with you. I'm very excited about the Gold Cup. I think it's a great opportunity, and anytime Mexico plays, it's always great.
Are they doing I haven't checked the schedule. Are they doing those double headers still, where it's like one game before the other one? They do like the two for one tickets, because that's what they used to do. I don't know if they're doing it here in Texas, but I remember the 2 for 1. Check it out.
Yeah, right, no, they're not. This time they're spreading it out. So you have, they're all kind of in the same city. The first game, El Salvador, Curacao is going to be at the Toyota Stadium where FC Dallas plays, Frisco. And then Mexico is playing at AT&T
Cowboy Stadium. Okay, see, they're already trying to change it a little bit just to maybe maybe capitalize a little more,
I
money
mean, they're doing
wise.
it. They're doing it in the U.S. The U.S. is like the first two games for the U.S. They're both going to be played at Kansas City, and they're
Okay.
going to be back to back. Same thing with Costa Rica's group. They're all going to be played kind of back to back to back to back,
Okay.
except the last one.
It
And
was just cool to it was cool to go, right. We would go to these Copa Oro games in the Bay Area, Oakland or San Francisco, wherever they would have them, or even LA. And you always get a little double header because that first game was going to be like Martinica versus Canada. Actually, that's what one of them was. But then all the Mexican fans would show up early and just start cheering on the Caribbean team, like because it was just the underdog mentality. So Martinica would score, and we go crazy, or like you would see Curacao play somebody, and the Mexicans would be cheering them on. And I thought that was cool. It was kind of like this little, it's a party, man. It was a straight up party, four teams in one, 2 hours. It was fun.
yeah, I think in the past too they've done it where Costa Rica hosts a group for the group stage. They've done. I think they did it maybe the last one where they host a group, Canada hosts a group. I think with the Mexico group, because they are doing something similar with all the other groups with Mexico, by them playing the first game in the Toyota Center, I think one, it's more aesthetically pleasing because it's a smaller stadium.
That makes sense.
So there's going to be less empty seats for the first game, and two, and then they don't have to charge as much either because it's not
The Mexico ticket.
it's
Yeah.
not the Mexico ticket, right? So now you're getting a much more better opportunity for it to fill up, and you're also now able to charge and fill it and get more Mexicans into the Dallas Cowboys Stadium, and you know what I mean. So and people who are willing to pay for that one game. So I think that's probably the mentality of it. If I was to guess, based off of this, is it's more aesthetically pleasing by putting it in a smaller stadium to have more people there, and then you don't have to charge as much. And then the second one is you can charge more for the Mexico game, and people are going to pay for it anyways.
That makes sense. Yeah, I get it. I just thought it was fun to have the little 2-for-1, but no,
Totally.
I understand. I totally get what they're doing. It is very weird. We talked about this before. That like it should rotate. Like I mean, obviously it wouldn't happen. But, money wise, it would not happen. Guatemala's not going to host this tournament, or Jamaica's not going to host this tournament. They don't have the facilities. Just don't have. It wouldn't work. But I wish they would do something like they did kind of with the Euros right now, where different people hosted it. I mean, why not have some rounds in some places? Obviously, you have to, move around the groups or whatever. But I remember Mexico hosting Copa Oro. Nothing that was the plan for like Mexico and U.S. to kind of alternate. But, obviously we know the U.S. dollar just always wins. So they just ended up staying here.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think moving forward, a good idea would be, Costa Rica is the head of the group, have the group stage games in Costa Rica for them. Same if Canada as a group host the group stage games for them. Mexico's host the games in Mexico, and then if you want to put the quarterfinals all in, the South moving forward, all United States. I think the opportunity is there for that, and I think it would make for a better atmosphere. And I think it would help kind of grow. Even a country like Trinidad and Tobago, who's hosted a U17 World Cup, they can host games. They can do. I think there's enough there for that. They've hosted a women's U17 World Cup, I believe, and things of that nature. So the opportunity is there. I think they have to give these countries an opportunity to show.
Right? How are they going to grow if we don't help them financially to host things? Like let their people also indulge in it. I think, or their sponsors also take advantage of these situations, because a Costa Rican company is not going to sponsor the Copa Oro when all the games are being played over here. This is not going to happen. So why not let all these things kind of mix in together? Like you said, maybe the top four, whoever finished this year, is like kind of a prize. Okay, top four who finish, get to host whatever. I don't know. Somehow you do it, or you said top four ranked will get to host the first group or whatever. I don't know, something to do that for next time around.
And because the tournament's every 2 years compared to some of these other regional tournaments, it should give the federation more of an opportunity to play around with these kind of concepts to test it out. You know what I mean? It doesn't. We kind of get trapped in this old idea of like everything having to be kind of traditional. But if you have it every 2 years, it gives you an opportunity to play around with it, like test things out, see what works, see what doesn't work. You know what I mean? And especially if it's every 2 years, give a country at least an opportunity to host a tournament. Run like what's going to happen? It doesn't work out 2 years later. You can go back to having it in the United States, or give another country a chance, or have it, every 4 years, have it be in a different country and have the one always be in the United States. But there's opportunity to kind of move things around.
Agree.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's our talk for the Gold Cup. We'll be right back, and then we're we'll get quickly to our preview for the finals in the other continents. Cool. And welcome back to Football Theory. We're moving across the pond. We got ourselves a final. We got England, we got Italy. Last time we talked, it was quarterfinals. Really good games. Quickly, do you want to start with just what just happened with England, Denmark, or do you want to take a step back and go from there?
Let's go with recent. Yeah, let's go with recent. Hashtag no era penal.
Yeah.
And
Denmark, we're here.
I cannot believe. I mean, I saw some tweet. It was like, you can't believe like Denmark, everything they went through from the day one, what happened with their teammate practically, dying and then reviving in the same 2-3 minutes on the field, their team having to bounce back and then like losing like that. It's like, that was weak, but I think it was like a fair result. I think England's a better team overall. I think the way they won's kind of weak. But Denmark put up a fight, and I think we thought they were going to put up a fight. And we called it Italy, England, so it's there.
Yeah, it's definitely there. I agree with you. It was a really weak PK, really, and yeah, you make all the good points. England were the better team. They kind of had more of the game, and as the game went on, you saw kind of Denmark just being drained. But just so heartbreaking for if you're a Danish fan for that to be the way you go down, though. You know what I mean? Because there's one thing if they get scored on kind of the way Ukraine scored, where it's the last minute and but it's almost like the dam didn't break. It's more someone broke it. There's a difference between the dam breaking and you holding on, you bending and it snaps compared to the feeling of kind of just having somebody take an axe to it and breaking it.
But then Schmeichel too, like great save, but he tries to catch it and it's like, bro, you just got to spit that out. Like I'm not blaming him because obviously he got to it, but like I felt like he was trying to, bring it in. And I'm like, bro, on that, like you just on a PK, you just want to save it. Like just get it out of there.
It's almost like Kane hit it so bad.
He overdove.
He overdove, and then he tried to. It's kind of in that weird body around your crotch where you're trying to kind of smother it, or because it's too far out now, so you can't just grab with your hands. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, it was unfortunate for Schmeichel. But England, I'm not taking anything away from England because England's played really, really well all tournament long. It took a great free kick from Denmark for them to finally concede. So for them, the way they've played all tournament, I think they've definitely earned a spot in the finals. Yeah, I think it's just for a Denmark perspective, it's just a really tough way to lose.
They were the fan favorite. You know what I mean? They were Croatia in last World Cup. They were Korea in the 2002 World Cup. They're like kind of like everyone just kind of like getting behind it. If you didn't have a team, you were just rocking with Denmark, and it was kind of sad.
I think in the ref perspective, why do you make that call? There was a one earlier for Kane that probably was more of a PK than this one. You know what I mean? I think and the way VAR is set up, where once the call is made, it has to be clear and obvious for it to be overturned. That call's not going to get overturned now because there is some contact, but it's not enough contact to warrant a PK in the beginning, I think. So I think that's the problem. If it was,
I really thought when they went to VAR, I thought it was going to get overturned right away. I'm like, oh, that's not a PK. Like, I know you can't, if you slow it down, anything doesn't look like it, but it was like, no, there's no way they're going to call. And he just calls him like, bro, like, how is that possible that you did that and the guys in the booth all saw that? How is that possible?
Because now it has to be completely clear and obvious that it has to be 100% a mistake. And so then now it turns into a soft foul. It's just terrible. I think the VAR has been better here than it has been in some of the leagues, especially in the EPL. But again, if you're hindering the opportunity to make the proper call by the wording of the foul or the wording of the law, which is the problem. And I think if you're a ref, you let that go and they'll tell you if it's something you should look at instead of the other way around. Because now you've tied the hands of the people who are also looking at this in the booth by saying they can't, it's not 100% a mistake. So now they can't follow it. And so
it was just a bad way to lose. But Denmark didn't show enough either to win. Like they didn't show enough to win either. They weren't putting any more pressure the last 40 minutes. It was kind of like they put all their effort in the first half or whatever it may be, but they didn't. We can't say Denmark deserved to win. No, but to lose like that, no, neither.
Yeah. So I think Denmark's proud about the result they made. They've had a great showing. They bounced back. You kind of show about what it means to kind of grow into a tournament. They lose their first two games. They have the really, not even talking about what's the main issue with Eriksson, just losing your first 2 games, getting second on 1 game, and then just growing into the tournament. I think that's kind of a good example of like, hey, the tournament's not decided after the first game. Yeah,
No.
like there's percentage of stocks about if you lose your first game, like the percentage is now tougher to get through. But these teams grow, these teams kind of improve as the tournament goes on. And I think they have a nice base to be a good team moving forward as World Cup qualifying continues for Europe and looking into like the next World Cup. This is a team that has a really solid foundation, a good base of players, and now I think people are going to expect something for them moving forward.
Great.
Other side of the bracket, Italy, the other finalist, they knocked out Spain in the semifinals. They knocked out Belgium in the quarterfinals. And what were your takeaway now that you've seen Italy play against 2 good teams?
Bro, they're gonna take it. They're gonna take it. I don't know why. They're just solid all around. Not like so much star power or anything like that. It just reminds me of one of those like those Italy teams, man. I'm telling you, even the one that won the World Cup, it wasn't like the star-studded, like, oh my God, but it just a well-oiled machine, man. And just, I don't know, man. I really thought they were going to beat Belgium, and they got past them, which was the toughest probably rival they had. And then Spain, it was a bad game, kind of like for them, both of them, but they beat Spain and they went through, and the way they beat them. So I don't know, man. I think they're going to give England the toughest run for sure for their money.
Yeah, I think Italy has shown that they're back. Number one, missed out on the World Cup. People were questioning how tough the group was. They're going extra time in the quarterfinal in the round 16, but they've shown they can win different ways. The Belgian game was probably the best the game so far in terms of quality, in terms of just everything that we saw. Spain really took it to them. I think a lot of people thought Spain was probably a little better, especially as the game went on. But Italy kind of showed that they're able to win different ways, whether it's sitting back and defending, or whether it's taking the game and finding these opportunities and taking it to a good team. I've been really impressed with them. I think with Donnarumma in goal, I see a lot of Manuel Neuer in him, in his shot stopping ability, where he's like just so big and he makes hard saves look really easy just because of his athleticism and his positioning and what he does on there. And I think unfortunately for England, that PK call is going to be in everybody's mind, and they're not going to want England to win. I think the universal perspective from everybody who isn't from England, I think more people are going to be for Italy, especially for the way England got in and against 2. That I think they're going to want Italy to win. See Italy as the favorites in this because I think they've done it in different ways. I don't think they're going to be fazed as much by the English crowd. They're going to have the mentality of, we're Italy. We've done this before. We got the 4 stars on our chest. England's in the first final since 1966 in any competition. They're going to have a belief that, they are made for this. This is what they do. This is what Italy does.
Yeah, I have a lot of English buddies, and they keep saying it's coming home. So we'll see. I'm going for Italy. I'm just gonna root for Italy. I know you're 3% Italian, so I want to give you a shout out on that. And I haven't done my 23andMe, but shoot, I'm just gonna run with that. That I'm more Italian than British. So let's do it.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little bit Scottish, which is also in Britain. So
you got to choose one. I do love pasta, so I'm gonna stick with my Italy.
Yeah, I'm with Italy as well. And I think if you're England, even if you lose the finals, you shouldn't take anything away because now you've made semifinals in the World Cup. You've made at the very least finals in Euros. Where this team is going, they actually now have the team that they've always thought they've had for the last 20 years. They've had a competent team. They have a team that works well together. They have a team that gets along, So I think regardless of the result for both teams, there's so much to take away that's been positive. I think quickly going to like Spain, I talked about how I wasn't sure about Spain heading to the tournament. Luis Enrique proved people like me who wasn't sure about them wrong.
They look cool. They look cool. They were young. They're probably missing just a couple more pieces, but they look good, man. They're going to be fine. In the World Cup, they're still going to be something. They're going to do something special, I think.
And Luis Enrique has bought himself some pressure off of the Spanish and Madrid-based media as well. Now and they're able to build. And I think if you're Belgium as well, quickly, there's nothing wrong with losing to Italy in that game the way they did. The quality of that game, the opportunities they both created, you could have 5 different results based off purely just the quality that both teams had, the goalkeeping, the attacking, everything. So, sometimes when you just lose these games, there's no really blame to be put on. Sometimes you just lose a game. You know what I mean? And I think we get so caught up when discussing games that we have to blame somebody. We have to blame a forward. We have to blame a defender. We have to do this. Sometimes sometimes it's warranted, but sometimes you just lose a game against a team that's very evenly matched that also has quality, and that's just the way the sport is.
Yeah, I'm not really surprised with any of these last 4. I think Denmark, like I said, Denmark's the one that kind of made that run. And that's the only reason Belgium was out earlier was just because who they faced right away. But they obviously could still be in the conversation. You can grab a handful of these teams that should belong, they should deserve to be in a final or play a really good final. So, nothing, like I said, nothing wrong with what Belgium did, nothing wrong with what Spain did. I thought Spain actually, like you said, proved a lot of people wrong, changed it up a lot on us, grabbed new people that we weren't used to seeing. Luis Enrique is kind of that little underdog coach. He always has those images of like bleeding, and you always look him up on the internet. He just has like that, I don't know, that the Iron Horse kind of like mentality, and he was just a tough player. So, yeah, I think they're gonna be cool, man, coming around for the World Cup. The cool thing is that the World Cup's like literally around the corner, so we don't have to wait too long for any of this.
Yep, just not even a year and a half, probably a little less than a year and a half away.
Yeah,
and the World Cup, they've set up a schedule where we're getting a lot of international games to try to get this World Cup qualifying in, and so we'll see a lot of these momentums go. So for all these teams, like in Italy, like a Spain, like a England, who have kind of built these nice foundations, they kind of get to keep it going. And compared to teams like Holland or Germany, now they don't have a lot of time to kind of recuperate or to kind of figure things out moving forward for them, which will be interesting to see, because compare those teams compared to the teams we just talked about. They have they have things that have to look at. You have a team that didn't make the World Cup in Holland and then gets bounced out in the round 16 against a team that people would say that they're better than, and you have Germany, who bounced out of the group stage in the last World Cup and now got bounced out against England, and you can put Portugal there too. Now these teams have they got to figure things out quickly, and they don't have a lot of time to do it. And those teams, I think, have more question marks, even more than a team like France, who I think, okay, France lost, but they're still the defending World Cup champions. And I think, for some reason, I'm just going to give them more leeway than I am these other 3 teams.
Yeah, no, I forgot about Germany. I think it's time for them to shake that up for sure. And then France doesn't have too much to worry about, because those guys are all going to continue to play at top teams for the next year, so they're going to be just fine. France will do just fine.
And if anything, a defeat in the Euros in the round of 16 might wake the team up a little bit more moving forward into World Cup qualifying and into the World Cup. So
yeah, they want to call Gignac. He's going to have a great Olympics, so we'll talk about that in a second. He'll be ready.
So that's our Euros. We'll wrap it up next week with our thoughts on the finals, and we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to hit you up with our next finals preview in South America and hit up that 50-50 at the same time. All right, we're back, Football Theory, and now Sunday is the Euro finals, but Saturday we got the Copa America finals, and we got Brazil and we got Argentina. Before we get to the finals, we also have had quarterfinals and semifinals. Guti, what have been your thoughts on the knockout stage for Copa America?
They've been very even, like I didn't see, like, I think with the 5 team in a group kind of like makes you, like, you see teams like look bad for 2 games or whatever it may be, or you see teams kind of look better than they should. But as it went on, like obviously we saw like Ecuador had, like, they haven't won a game in I don't know how many games, right? They were talking about they haven't won a Copa America game in a long time. So Ecuador just didn't show up the whole tournament. I think there's time to move that around. But Colombia kind of like started making a little run, and if Colombia, scores, we're talking about them being in the final. So I was really impressed with Colombia, what they did and turn around towards the end. And then like Peru, Paraguay, like I thought they did their thing. I didn't think they were going to beat, Brazil, obviously, but I was like, you know what? They're going to do their thing. They're going to make a little cool run. And then Chile, Chile's not Chile like we're used to, man. They're going to have to find a new group going forward. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on that. But that we already guessed the finalists, and we both hit it on point. Brazil, Argentina, and this is Messi's chance, and this is going to be Messi's. This is going to be the one. This is going to be the one they win, I think.
I think, I think the knockout stage, the quality has been a lot better than the group stage was. We kind of hoped that would be, and it has been. I think I'm what what do you think about the Copa America after 90 minutes in the knockout stages before the finals straight to PKs compared to
That
the
was one of my
Euros?
50-50s. You just ruined it. But yeah, I was going to say that. What did you think about that? Because I kind of like that.
Then we'll save it.
Okay, we'll save it. Then we'll save it.
I'll save it because that's a good conversation.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
I think with a team like Chile, we've talked about some of these other teams in the Europe about the core group and how it goes up and how it goes down. And now they've looked at it definitely down. You've had these guys, Vidal, who's old now, Bravo, he's still in goal. Where do you have the talent to replenish that? I think, not everybody in South America has that kind of ability that Argentina and Brazil have to just replenish talent. And even them, like sometimes when the talent's being replenished, the level's not always high. Sometimes like their mid-high is higher than some of the other teams in South America, which is great for them. But, Peru doesn't have that. Chile doesn't have that either. Even Uruguay is still really holding on to these Luis Suarez to Cavani to Gobin. They have some other guys in there, and they have some younger talent in there as well. And I think they're kind of in that middle compared to the rest of them. But, teams like Chile, teams like, even Peru's really not doing well in qualifying so far, but they're really getting a lot out of they got a lot out of their group here in Copa America. But I'm just happy that the quality has improved as the tournament's gone on, and I'm excited for this final.
Yeah, they definitely got better these last little games. It was cool little watch a Euro game and watch a Copa America game. It was cool. And like I think going back to your point, we just said really quickly about teams not being able to replenish their squads. That all has to go back to what we talked about before, is how strong their league is, right? So when you're a national team coach, right, your first thing to do is like, all right, what guys are playing where, and you start making your list. And obviously you pick the guy that plays at Man City, or you pick the guy that plays at Barcelona. Obviously you have to, right? There's no way you can't call that person. But then from there, you have to get that good little supporting cast. And if your league doesn't have that competitiveness, it doesn't have that like grit that Argentina does, the Argentinian league or the Brazilian league, then you have really like not too much. Like, so what I'm trying to say is like Chile, the Chilean coach can just go ahead and pick all these players that play around Europe, the names that we know, the Vidales and all the other players. But after that, you're not going to tell me that the Chilean league is that strong to be able to support that, or even the Peruvian league, or any of these other leagues that we talked about. So that's why Argentina and Brazil can just do that. They can just show up to any tournament and be competitive, right? Because they could go with the U20 team one day and have you a bunch of guys from Boca and River and Lanús or whatever, and they'll still give you a good game, And so I think that has to do with how strong their league is, for sure.
Yeah, and it definitely talks about too the program. Like, what are these countries doing in the youth programs? You know what I mean? I think Uruguay has a really good youth program that they set up, and they get these guys in, and they kind of get them to buy into the Uruguay mentality that has kind of been known, because they went through a resurgence and a restructure of the national team after they failed to qualify for 2006 when they lost to Australian PKs. They kind of not start from scratch, but they really took a look at what they were doing wrong, and they restructured the youth, starting from the youth system, and kind of gave themselves, and they reintroduced the national style of play for the national identity of Uruguay. And I think you're seeing that's been holding over now for 15 years, where they won a couple of Copa Americas. They've been in World Cup semifinal. They've been flirting, and they've been at that level with Brazil and Argentina, and they've surpassed them at times as well over the last 15 years. And it doesn't end. It's not ending with just one generation. It looks like they're able, because of these foundational changes they made, they're able to replenish a little bit better than a Chile or a Colombia or something of that nature. Yeah. So, it really shows what happens. Even if you're not Argentina or Brazil, what can you do for your program that make it unique to get the best out of what you have? And I think Uruguay has been able to do that. And so it's not a fluke for me, even though they did lose to Colombia here. I think you're seeing the talent they have, and that they're still going to be a team to to worry about moving forward as World Cup qualifying goes on.
Agree.
Yeah.
Agree.
So you have Argentina in the finals?
I'm rooting for them. I do think.
Rooting for them.
I think if the fans were allowed into the game, then Brazil would have a huge advantage. But the fact that it's closed doors, there's no fans. It doesn't matter really where they're playing. Argentina's gonna beat them, man. I think Messi's gonna. I don't know. Everyone's talking about the passion he was showing the day of the penalties yesterday, and how he was yelling and stuff, and he's bleeding and all this stuff. I think Messi knows this is the end of the run right here, and I think he has to get it now. This is it right here.
Yeah. I'm inclined for a sympathetic standpoint, or not sympathetic, but to see Messi lift something for Argentina would be good. I just think, man, Brazil's playing so well.
Yeah,
I think they're a cut above and beyond. They might be the best team in the world right now, to be honest with you. I think they could. I think they're just as good as Italy or as England. I think they're just as good.
They're better than they're better than both those teams.
They're just, we talk. They're kind of have everything in clicking at the right time and at the right places. You know what I mean? You see what a player like Casemiro in his prime, the way he helps Brazil. You see the way Cruz struggles in Germany because he doesn't have somebody like Casemiro behind him. You see how much more effort and how much more exertion Modric has to do for Croatia without a Casemiro behind them.
Yeah.
Then you have Silva in the back. This team is, and the attack that's always kind of been there for Brazil. I think now, Neymar was thrusted into the position he was in at a very young age. He's maturing and he's coming into his own at his prime right now. And it's not just him, it's these other guys as well in the Brazil attack who are kind of thrust into this position a little older at a younger age. And things that would seem as triumphs for other countries, for them, it's been failure. And I think right now it's kind of all coming together really nicely for them. And yeah, for me, they're, top. They might be the best team in the world right now.
Yeah, I guarantee nobody wants to play them right now. So yeah, no, I do think they are better. Like I said, I think Argentina's going to win. That's what I'm going with.
Yeah,
because they're not going to back down either. I just said there's no fans. There's no advantage. It's just a field. So we'll see.
Yeah. All right. So I got Brazil. You got Argentina. Cool. I mean, that's been our Copa America preview. I think we're both happy to see the quality go up during the knockout stage. And I think it's going to be a really nice end to it. So that's the finals for Copa America, Argentina, Brazil, and then England, Italy on Sunday, and then Mexico kicking off Gold Cup. 50-50 moving forward. Ruti, I'll let you go first since I kind of accidentally guessed yours.
I'll just throw it out there right now. Let's go with that straight away. How do you feel about that? I mean, if you were to organize a tournament coming up, and they asked you to organize it for FIFA, any confederation, are you putting PKs in there right away after a tie, or are you going with the traditional 15-minute, 2-time overtime and all these things? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think I'm going straight to PKs for round 16, quarterfinals, semifinals. I think in the finals you can do I don't mind going extra time, but these schedules are already kind of wonky and they're not fair to begin with. You know what I mean? You have one team playing Tuesday, one team playing Wednesday. You have one team, all these different things. If you just go straight to PKs after one, it makes those 90 minutes a lot more intense. And I think the quality is going to be even better. I think we've seen in the Euros these extra times, these teams these guys are struggling. You know what I mean? We already talked about the seasons they've had in the amount of games they've played during the season, and then to keep adding these extra 30 minutes, it takes a lot out of them. And I think the quality kind of goes down a little bit. I think the quality is better has been better in the last stages, in the last 15 minutes in the Copa America than it has been in the extra times of the Euros. So for me, I like the idea of the pressure. And I think it's going to be like that in the Gold Cup too. I think I don't have it right in front of me, but I think after the 90 minutes in the knockout stage, it's going to go straight to PKs. And I think it's good because it adds more value to the 90 minutes, and it's good for the players because they don't have to keep running for another 30 minutes.
30 minutes. Yeah. And then you get five subs. Now you get 5 subs. So that's a lot already. I don't think you need the extra 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And you saw it in the World Cup with Croatia, who went to PKs with Denmark. They went to extra time, I believe, with England. They've had all these. And I think they had another game as well that went to extra time. They played a whole extra game before they even played the finals. You know what I mean? It's a lot. and especially because these games are such a short amount of time, you have this, you only have so many players on your roster. You don't want to make that many moves. So yeah, it's too much. I think I'm pro for that PK.
All right.
How about you?
Play. Yeah. I'm all play for, man. All PK. Let's go straight to PKs. The final, I guess you could kind of make it longer.
Yeah.
Because you do get another sub in the finals in a overtime as well. So you get 6 subs total. But PKs is cool. Because sometimes, like you said, I know they're trying to defend the higher seeded team, like, oh well, you don't want to lose on a fluke. It's like, well, it's not a fluke. You didn't beat them in 90 minutes, so it's not a fluke. You know what I mean? If you lost in PKs, you didn't beat them in 90 minutes before that, so it's not a fluke. PKs are a toss up, but don't get there. Then, if you want to win, you better win it before that.
Absolutely. All right. So my 50-50 goalkeeper celebrations. Where you at with that, Martin? I think it's been the summer of the goalkeepers. A lot of PKs have been saved. I think yesterday for Argentina, Martinez, empty stadium, so you could hear all the trash he was talking, and then a beautiful celebration for me with the hip thrust. Where are you with goalkeeping celebrations?
Reminds me of that Key and Peele, one too many hip thrusts for me. But no, I'm gonna go to VAR. I was a keeper too for a long time. I'm all about celebrating that stuff. I thought the hip thrust was like 1-2 steps a little above the across the line. But hey, you block a PK, you block a PK. I mean, they're not easy to do, and he blocked 3 in a row in the same spot. So hey, man, goalie celebrations, why not? Players celebrate all the time, so why not? Just no hip thrust. One too many hip thrusts for me.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I'm for goalkeeping celebrations, especially in a shootout. It's so interesting because someone said, I read a thread like, yo, why are more keepers just talking before the PK to try to get the shooter off?
I've always done that. We always done
dude's
that.
like, because you look foolish if it goes in, but the shooter already has all this advantage to begin with, anyways, right? Everything is set for the shooters now, especially with the cameras now checking to make sure
the camera on the line. Yeah, no. You're a keeper. You're against it. You got to talk to them. You got to go move the ball around, walk back slowly, drink water, take your shin guards off, whatever. You have to do it because the shooter only has to kick the ball. You know what I mean? You have to guess all kinds of things. So no, I'm all for the goalie celebrations. Just take it easy on the hip thrust, man.
All right.
Okay, I have another one for you, and then we're getting close. And a couple here, but I just wanted to go with this one right here. I mean, how do you feel about that? Like the U.S. taking this alternative team, and it's not the first time they do it. They've done it many times where it's almost like they don't care if they go to a final and lose 5-0 to Mexico. They've done it before. How do you feel about that? What about U.S. taking that kind of decision?
I think I don't like it. I mean, I guess if I'm the U.S., if I want to put myself in the perspective of Greg Berhalter, I think he saw what he wanted for enough amount of time. He got the win, which is important for him. So I think there is pressure on him. Is he qualified? Is he good enough to be the coach of this team that has players playing for a lot of teams in Europe? Is he the right fit? So I think for him, this buys him time. You know what I mean? Because if they were to lose and not win the Gold Cup with this team, then the questions come back to him, right? And it's all going to be on him because they're not going to change the core group of those players. They're going to change the coach and say, well, we have all of this. Why isn't he getting the results with everything we have? So now he's bought himself some time. He got a win in the tournament already earlier this year. So, for him, it makes sense. For them, I guess they're saying, you know what, we know what we have. Let's just get ready for in a couple. Maybe we can get 1 or 2 more players here, but then I think they're set on their focus is making the World Cup and especially redeeming themselves from 4 years now.
But they're gonna make the World Cup because the new qualification, the way it is, first of all, they got to go to the second round just by their ranking in the world, so they didn't have to do that first round that we talk about, that little 3 game, whatever round robin, home and away with 3 teams or 4 teams. So like they're already going to qualify. I mean, it had to be a really weird situation for U.S. not to qualify, which obviously that happened before. But like, could you see a Mexico, hosting? See, think about hosting the Gold Cup and then taking an alternative team just because and sending all of the guys a vacation. I mean, could you see that? Even if they had won the Nations League?
No, I think Mexico would have taken more, all the quantity, no, but the fact that Corona's here, Chuki's here, and Herrera's here. I don't think Mexico, maybe one or two of them, but I don't think they would do that. But you know, for US, I guess that's what they think is the most important. And I think again for Greg, I don't think his leash is very long. Their first game is in El Salvador. Their third game is going to be in Honduras, and they're going to have a game in World Cup qualifying. And they're in between there. They're going to play a good Canada team at home. So if they don't start off well there, they're in trouble. You know what I mean? And we talked a little bit about how it is to go play in these places like El Salvador and Honduras. Places where they're going to play probably the game in the middle of the day. The grass is going to be a little longer, and
What?
you're gonna have these guys, and we'll talk about it around these times because it's such a fascinating, mental idea. These guys are not used to playing in atmospheres like that, and
No.
and I tweeted this the other day. I think the rivalry or the disdain some of these people think happens in international soccer in Europe, it's much more real in like South America. The real like rivalry disdain. I think it's real like in Central America. This real like disdain these have to these other teams.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think these guys, might not be. It's going to be a learning experience for them to go to El Salvador, to San Pedro Sula, and in Honduras and play these games in these conditions they're not used to. And if they get 3 points out of those first games, pressure's really on for them. And so he can't have this more pressure for them here.
Okay, I can kind of see that. I also do think just because they won the Nations League,
yeah,
it's kind of like, well, hey, come on, it's fine, he won something. But if he loses that, like he could have lost that, I don't think they do that. I don't think they send a B team to this. Anyways,
yeah, I think they're trying to just make up for the fact that they did not make the last World Cup.
Yeah, I agree.
The pressure is now all going to be on the coach because they're going to say we have all this talent. If something's going to be wrong, it's going to be the coach. So
wait till they start playing in Europe and they're playing full, every weekend and stuff, and they got the local tournaments, and now they got to fly into Honduras. It's not going to be easy for sure.
No, it's not going to be easy. Yeah, and we'll get there when in September when these qualifiers come up because it's something different for them. So yeah, definitely there. My last 50-50, it's actually not soccer related.
There you go.
Family. Which my 50-50 is family.
I haven't watched Fast and the Furious yet.
Are you pro Fast and the Furious?
I am. The fact that I already know what you were talking about obviously means I'm pro Fast and the Furious. Man, one of those movies that just kind of marked an era, man. I mean, the first one came out of nowhere, and everyone just started buying Hondas and all kinds of stuff, trying to soup them up. And I remember I think I was middle school when that came out. So yeah, it was like 8th grade or something. And then the next two, like Too Fast, Too Furious I thought that was the best one. That's my favorite one. That's one of my favorite ones. That one in Fast 5. But then because 3 and 4, I just don't even remember them coming out. I don't remember watching them really. I watched them later on, but I didn't watch them like when they came out. And then like I think they just started realizing shoot, people were watching these things, and they just started adding more people. I liked 5 a lot just because it was in Brazil. Because they like started bringing all kinds of people to Honolulu. They started just bringing everyone back, Ludacris and everybody. So I don't know. I enjoyed the last 3, and I'll definitely be watching it. So I'll do it.
Whatever. I feel you. I'm also pro family. I mean, watch. It's so hilarious to see how the first one is when they're just stealing DVDs.
Right, they're stealing DVDs and driving the Civics under the trailers. Like, how do you the semis? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Fast 2's grown on me over time. I didn't like it at first, but it's grown on me over time. But I also love Fast 5. Fast 5 is great because it just kind of that's when it just starts teetering into where it is now. Like,
yeah, it's like they had a bigger budget, like in Fast 5 they had more money and they started making it.
Yeah, that's better. When they really started pumping in the steroids of like what they can do, and I'm all for it. Like, sometimes you just want to watch a movie where it's the ridiculous, where they're completely aware of the ridiculousness of it, and just gonna see how far they push. And they all seem like they have fun doing it, whether it's that Charlize Theron coming in, Helen Mirren coming in,
right,
or not Russell Crowe. What's his name?
Jason Tatum?
No. I mean Jason Tatum coming in. But yeah, whoever it is, they're all coming in having a good time. And so yeah, I mean I'm all for Fast and Furious for it.
Let's do it.
I find it funny when people get upset that they're like, oh, it's not like the old it's not like the old ones. It's like, man, it's they're movies. Like, relax.
No, it's just a way to like. I mean, think about it. The Rock is in it. It's like these different things. Like, how did they get all these characters in there? All these actors in there. So to me, it was like something they just kept kind of doing it, see what happened, and then 5 they started bringing everyone back, and they realized we could just add one more person to each one, and it's a wrap. And so I mean, I heard John Cena's in this one or whatever. I mean, they're running out of like superheroes here, but it's good. It's cool. I'm all for it. I'll check it out.
This is a pro Vin Diesel podcast.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. What was it, the Pacifier and all kinds of movies. Yeah.
Yes. So Vin, if you're hearing this, come on board.
Yeah, come
anytime.
Help us out.
Yeah. All right. So that's gonna do it on us. Guti, any last words?
Yeah. No, man, that's it. I hope everyone had a great 4th of July. I know you weren't enjoying the fireworks, but I didn't get to see any at all and I'm not really into them anyways. But in Seattle, they're like banned or whatever, so there was no fireworks at all. So I know you had a nice tweet. You said fireworks should only be at stadiums, right, when your team wins. So yeah, hopefully we'll see some fireworks for in Copa America. Argentina, Messi finally lifts something for them, and should be cool.
That's right. All right, cool. Yeah. So I hope everybody had a happy 4th of July. Enjoy the rest of your vacation, Guti. Everybody be happy, be healthy, hug somebody you love. And this has been Football Theory. We'll catch you guys later. Thank you.
Let's go. It's kind of like, one way to put it.